like you got your 100+ amateur fights. We don't need to know if this dude can fight. We figured that out. You know what I mean? So now we're gonna put together the right fights, kind of start building the name up a little bit. Get him trying to get him to a certain number, get some type of ranking, and then start looking at the next step, like the where we start getting into these big fights. But those early fights where I don't want to say you're supposed to win, but like it's almost
You are
expected in a
supposed to win.
way.
Yeah,
Right, right. It's expected. So it's like as much as that is, a fight is a fight. Is there more pressure in those situations sometimes? Yo,
what up? What up?
what's happening?
Yeah, look, man, I just finished working out.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. You were sparring today, right?
No, I thought I was. We weren't. We weren't. I thought they might have scheduled it. I'm still old school where the coach is scheduled to work. So,
Yeah, I can dig it. Now,
but nah,
shit, that's a nice way to have it, man. That way you just gotta show up and do what you do.
yeah. But nah, we just got some work in today. Worked on some things, and then we supposed to be sparring again Wednesday and Friday.
Okay, dope. Where you sparring at on Wednesday?
I'm not 100% sure yet. Um,
Wherever Fox says be, huh?
yeah, pretty much. We making sure that we secure the one guy. If not, but I know Friday we supposed to spar with Ben again. No excuse.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, hell yeah, brother. Well, man, we've been talking about trying to get you on since I started this thing back up again. I appreciate you coming on. I know you got a lot of stuff going on in the middle of fight camp, so I appreciate you giving us some time.
Yeah, nah, man. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, yeah. We get ready to head out. Me and Mr. Mac heading down to Miami tomorrow. Appreciate all the help with helping him get prepared for this one. This is a big one for him, so we're
Yeah,
excited to go down there and get this W. You know what I mean?
oh, for sure. I'm glad. I appreciate you. I appreciate both of y'all. Shout out to Gary too. I appreciate both of y'all seeking me out for this one, man. I help as much as I can. I know Glory's like the place to be. Y'all there. You got there. I can't wait because I can't wait to be able to put assistant kickboxing world championship
There you
trainer
go. Hell
on
yeah.
my bio.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah, you've been in the. I'm definitely gonna make sure we circle around to that because you've been in the mix for a while now. But I want to go through the whole. Cause you're my first boxer on here. So well, that's not true. I'm sorry, Luther. But I'm saying like you know what I'm saying they did nothing else but boxing. Like this is your game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Luther
only
was
was
down for whatever, man. Luther would have been a professional thumb wrestler
yeah,
if somebody came looking for a personality and
yeah,
all that. So yeah,
right.
100%, man. I'm excited to have you on.
Luther will probably be doing power slap next.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh my, can you imagine? Oh my God, bro. He would be putting people's lights out for sure.
Don't let him. Whatever you do, don't let him go first.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's a definitely a win every time. I remember when the bare knuckle stuff first started popping off. I got like a little tip of some stuff that was going on in Philadelphia. Some people were, so me and Luther went up there and checked it out because they were you remember all this stuff. I'm just telling the audience really, but
Yeah,
we went out there and checked it out because they were talking about doing like a reality show. It sounded like at the time they were thinking about doing something like a Ultimate Fighter type thing. So I was like, that'd be cool. I'm like, man, if you get Luther on TV, like
man,
he's gonna take off.
yeah,
Man, but once I started seeing that stuff, I was like, man, I don't know, Lute. I was like, I'm not feeling this shit at all, brother. Like, I was like, I got, you know what I mean? Like, I'm close to your family and your wife, and like, I was like, I don't like this shit, bro. Cause I was like, I was like, maybe if like you didn't have nothing left really to do, and it was just to get a bag or something like that, I guess.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of the bare knuckle, personally, but it is what it is. How you feel about it?
Honestly, like when I had like 2 years trying to get a fight, I like, man, I saw like Austin Trago. I was like, man, maybe I should try and get us a try.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get back fighting. I just wanted to get back
Right,
fighting.
right.
I had actually talked to Austin Trout about it. He's like, man, look, he said, man, with few adjustments, like you ain't got to rip the shots the way you would try to rip because you don't have
Hmm.
gloves on. Just let your knuckles do the work, and just box like you know how to box. And
Yeah.
I really sat with it like I'm gonna keep it in the back pocket.
Yeah.
But I never moved on it. But I like it. I like it, and I mean I like it for just for especially for fighters who like me who went through those droughts. Like man, it was something to do. It'll keep your skill sharp.
Hmm.
Austin Charles doing this thing in there because none of them dudes fought Miguel Cotto.
Yeah.
None of them dudes beat Miguel Cotto. Fought Canelo. Fought both the Charlos. Fought
Yeah.
Jared Hurd. And like he's thriving there. He's in his 40s now. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I told him, man, I love that for you, man. You found a second career and you made the most of it. You were world champion in two different like fight styles. Yeah,
Yeah, I like seeing. I mean, I definitely like seeing them get paid. I think that's my. If I do like something about it, I like to see them get paid. I just don't, man.
yeah,
Just the cuts and everything, and I'm just like, yeah,
yeah.
it
Wasn't big on that, but
stresses me out.
yeah, do my damnedest not to get touched too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And then but then it's like you worry cuz like I know the guy Feldman that runs one of the main ones like if those
Yeah.
guys aren't in there brawling, man, he's calling them out in the press conferences and stuff like
Oh
that.
wow.
And it's like yeah, so then it's like you're like, oh, I'll go out there and box and make people miss, so, but beat the body up a little bit, try not to get but then if you got your boss is cursing you out and telling you you
Right.
didn't
That's
really come
crazy.
to
Man.
fight or something, I don't know. Hey,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is.
hmm I met Dave Feldman through Marshall Kaufman. They were working closely together, and then
Yeah,
Feldman ventured off. David Feldman he ventured off to make it happen. He started in like down south Mississippi and all those other
hmm,
places. Now he's in Philly.
yeah,
He's going places. And I'm
yeah,
happy. I'm happy regardless of whatever he probably says about. I mean, it's a brand like. When you hear a story, he went bankrupt, almost went bankrupt trying to get it off the board. So he wants to make it last. I think he's just looking at. I think he's just moving from that perspective. And I mean, can't
yep.
never fault him for like, man, look, man, I'm trying to make this work.
No,
Giving me good
not
fight.
at all. No, I
Yeah,
love, like I said, I love the business aspect. I love seeing people get paid. What all these fighters go through, and people can uh, have these careers where you just didn't get the right fights or in weird situations might not have won the fights that they should have won or whatever the case may be, and then their career just kind of takes that crazy fork, and then they never get a chance to make the money that they probably deserve or definitely deserve. I do like to see that. Oh yeah, well let's get into it, brother. So I like for a lot of people that are watching our podcast, might be coming from more of the Muay Thai background, and that's starting to get a lot more prevalent with like the youth. You're starting to see a lot more youth athletes in it, but for boxing, I feel like that's like it's almost like if you didn't start out in there as a young fighter, it's kind of hard to come up in the game the way that you need to continue on. Like I feel like you hear the stories of like you and Tank and all these guys, like for the most part like they grew up in the sport and keep on fighting throughout their life. So talk us through that a little bit.
yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest thing about it is just that don't get me wrong, the amateur experience is very important to have. I mean, it gets you
Hmm.
used to being in the ring, gets you used to you learn how to fight. Um, but there are also a lot of great champions that came into boxing late. Bernard Hopkins is everyone's favorite example of that.
Hmm.
Winky
Jared
Wright,
Hurd.
yeah, yeah, right. Winky Wright started boxing at 18. I think Sonny Liston started fighting at 30, something
Hmm.
like that. So I mean, it's good to have. Don't get me wrong. It's great to have, and I mean, especially like once you start getting winning nationals, everything you start getting looked at, and I mean, I think it's a great springboard. Above all, it's a great springboard into your pro career, especially with everything happening now. You got Pro Box, you got OTX, you got all these different avenues, and they're leaning more into the social media aspect of things. And these young men, these kids, getting knockout, highlight reel knockouts in the amateurs, and people are seeing that. Like, shout out to Marcus Luther. He just scored a big knockout at the Golden Gloves this past Saturday, and it's already viral. It's making rounds. He's got
Mm.
Keyshawn Davis, Troy Isley, Lamont Rhodes. He got everybody in his comments like, "Boy, you different." I mean, it's good. But it's always been great to have that experience, even before the social
Yeah.
media and everything. But like I said, it springboards you into the pros. My brother won the under 19s. It was a national tournament, and he started getting looked at. He was 18 years old. He started getting looked at by managers and everything. He ended up turning pro at 18, right after high school. So I mean, it always helps. It always helps. And I'm telling, as a young man I work with now, I'm telling them, like, man, like, you need to put yourself out there on the socials a little more, man. Just
Yeah.
put your, like, if you don't want to put your personal, I totally stand by that. You don't got to put your personal life out there, but you got to put highlights out there. They want to see that, man. They want to see the, like, don't do the, I'm never big on, like, don't put the sparring out and everything. But when you perform and you fight, you want to put highlights from your fight up. I'm all about that, man. You got to be able to, because you got to be able to market yourself. These promoters now want to see that you're able to do some of the work for them. They putting their money into you. They want to see some effort out of you.
Yeah. No, and I feel like your era, you had a little bit of both of it, right? Because like obviously, like when you were like a young kid boxing, there social media wasn't as prevalent right then yet.
Yeah, we were.
But then you got the tail end, like late teenagers, kind of you got to kind of
Right.
capitalize on that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it was still in its infancy. It was still in its
Yeah.
infancy when I was a teenager. But I mean, if you go to YouTube, or any of y'all go to YouTube and type in DC amateur boxing, that was um, my assistant coach at the time. That was his YouTube page. He used to travel around, put
Mm.
all the fights from the tournaments up, so you could see Lamont Roach when he was a kid. You could see Tank Davis when he was a kid. Um, uh, who else? Shakur, guys like Kenny Sims and everything like these. We were doing that. I mean, that coach I had, my assistant coach at the time, he was ahead of his time with it.
Hmm.
He was ahead of his time with it, and I mean, I think a lot of people try to like, kind of follow suit, but like sometimes they'll put "Oh man, I just found this old clip of you fighting such and such." So I say, "Yeah, man, my assistant coach at the time, like he was the one that filmed that." So shout out to Cullen Dickinson. He was ahead of his time, and shout out to Zimmy Dickinson, his son. Anybody from the era I came up in the amateurs knows Jimmy Dickinson was that dog.
Yeah. That's fire. Well, and then it's like, can you tell us about the like? So how well first like, other than how many amateur boxing fights did you have roughly? I know it's probably got hard to keep track after a while because I knew you had a lot.
Yeah, it was about 100. It was about 100.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
we were. There used to be fights like if it's 4 Saturdays in a month, it was a fight almost every Saturday. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that was a thing. Where it got to a point where you might have fights every Saturday 1 month, and then like they might have, oh, we're gonna do a Friday show as well. So if you fought Friday and Saturday, and then 2 of those other Saturdays, they wouldn't let you fight on like the fourth Saturday. Y'all, a little too much,
Yeah.
much. And then like so you either fought all them Saturdays. It was always something happening around here. They're getting back to they're having good shows now, but it's moving slower. It's
Hmm.
moving slower just because everybody want to be a matchmaker and a promoter now, and
Hmm.
they want to pre-match bouts, get guys to come from out of town who may or may not come. What happens when you do that is the one kid that guy, like the guy's coming from Philly, the one kid that he really needed to fight for, if his fight gets canceled, he might have had three other guys matched up. He won't show up with them. And like this, so
Yeah.
that's 4 matches just out the window because we couldn't secure this one guy. But it's doing its thing. It's getting back to a good point where everybody can stay busy. The Thump Yard, they're having something this Sunday. There's something Saturday as well. I forgot what that one is. No, I think that's a beginning show Saturday. Thump Yard's having their like 10th show Sunday, and then actually Ali is actually going to be throwing a show soon too.
Okay, you bet.
Month. So
At his
so
spot,
no, they won't.
you got a venue.
No, yeah, he had to get a venue. They won't
Yeah,
let him.
outgrew that joint,
They got
huh?
they got rules and stuff about the ring specifications that he couldn't really match, which
Oh shoot.
I didn't
Okay.
think I didn't think was fair because
Yeah.
they had 4 events there before they
Right.
started woodwork with these, but I ain't gonna get no of that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know it gets a little crazy. So let me ask you this then, though. So like, because now there's something we deal with in Muay Thai and MMA a lot, and I've seen some of the amateur boxers that are in and out of here too, so because the social media is such a tool, but then also now you're also running into some of those situations where it's changing how people move on both sides. Like obviously the promoters are, it's an amateur boxing show, whereas like before there was obviously those people that were just running the shows, like you said, like constantly to just get people fights and keep people coming in, stuff like that. And then now they're making a little bit more of a production. And then on the flip side of that, you got the fighters that are like treating these amateur bouts like it's like a pro fight, where they're like, nah, I don't want to fight that person. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Where it's starting to muddy that a little bit too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think that nobody wants to look bad. Every time, like even in boxing and street fights around the way,
Hmm.
nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
lose and be a meme on the socials. I mean, we can't forget the plot. This is still youth sports, and the main thing is that these young men and women, basically are getting the reps in. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because it's not just amateur boxing, just youth sports in general. It's kids that's kids that play basketball. They got bigger followers than I do on social media and things like that. They got people that post everything they do and things like that. So nobody wants to look bad. I mean, people were already scared to take an ass whooping before it was cameras out.
Yeah.
Definitely scared to take an ass whooping now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's tough. You start to see people, kind of picking and choosing. We run into that a lot for the, even for the Muay Thai. It's like we're trying to, build up our fighters, because for us, like as soon as you go pro, like there's not as much of a building process. Like once you
Right.
go pro, like it's off. You know what I mean? You might 2 3 fights, and then if you're lucky, you might get 2 3 fights where you're fighting somebody like also a pro debut, 1 or 2 fights, and then you run out of people because it's just not as big of a pool. And then next thing you know, you're fighting like Gary, like people with 20, 30 fights and shit. So, it's for us, we kind of got to make you gotta like try to take some of the hardest fights, and then people are picking and choosing. And that just starts getting so hard to navigate. Whereas I feel like I've been in it from a place where there was a time where there wasn't as much options, so people just had to take the hard fights.
Yeah.
And you start to see like there's a lot of the politic and going on in both worlds. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Uh, are you running into that with any of the youth people you got, or like that your dad's? I know your dad's working with some young fighters now too, which is exciting to see the next crop of like the dream team people coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing. We don't run into it too much. I mean, the thing I say
That's
this,
good. That's
the young
good.
man. No, well, no, a little bit, a little bit. I say a little bit, just because
Yeah.
the young men we have, they fight. They fight around the area. They haven't actually been to any tournaments yet, just
Mm-hmm.
because their 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 situation changed. We'll leave it there. Their situation changed a tad bit,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing about us is it's all experience. So we'll like on the shows we'll fight those kids that been to the nationals a bunch of times. Those kids that won the nationals, and like people are like begging them, man, when you gonna take them there? When you gonna take them to the national? When you gonna take them? Like, look, man, y'all gotta remember the nationals cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
We're getting all this experience. Like like I'll be honest, is it's two of the brothers. One of the brothers is a little younger, but two of the brothers right now is Johnny Wilkins and Jamari Wilkins. They're getting a mystique about them, just in the sense that like man, who them youngest Fox got? They started knowing about it. Everybody's watching them. Like when we gonna send them out there? When we gonna send them out there? Like man, their situation has to change a little bit. But in the meantime, you can get good work in if you're not scared, you can get good work in the area. If you
Yeah.
so like my thing is if you go into all these national championships and you bring these Jones home and you're winning or and everything, and our guys who aren't going are competing, sometimes winning, but always putting up a tooth for nail fight. Man, he's still getting that experience. He's still getting
Mm-hmm.
that experience. He's still gonna be ready. And I mean, but so to wrap it up, like my father, when we were younger, we went to every tournament, everything.
Mm,
It cost a
yeah.
lot, thousands of dollars each time. So man, we're not doing. Like when I get my next crop, he always said like we're not gonna do it the same way. We just gonna pop out. We're gonna pop out, and it already helped because the amount of amateur shows that that are available, it lessened over the years. It's like I said, it's picking back up, but it's moving at a pace where you'll see you'll see our guys once or twice a month, and you got to figure out what you're going to be able to do against those guys in what now 3 3-minute rounds. You got 9 minutes to figure them out. Actually, you don't even have 9 minutes. You got like a round to figure them out,
Yeah.
and then if they ain't, and if you don't got it, then it's another dub for us.
100%. Yeah, I know it's tricky. When we first opened Level Up, Tony was still doing his amateur shows, and that was like every month, so that helped a lot.
Yo,
When I was still working with some amateur boxers more then. With the size of the Muay Thai team now, I don't have the time really for it. But
yeah,
I definitely love that. I love working with the boxers too. But there was definitely a spot at one point where it was just like whoop, like there was like it was hard to find amateur boxing events that were consistent.
yeah.
It
Like
was
a
it
drought
was a
just
shame.
happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now they're popping, like you said, they're popping up. You got the I'm glad to see Ali doing his things. I know he's run some great ones. And then with the Champions League one, I think is one they've been there. They try to put a lot of like production into their stuff, which is cool, and they're trying to run consistent.
Yeah,
Thump Yard, we did the Thump Yard with Yaz, Yumi, and Yaz on that was a good. That was a nice little show.
that was
So
funny. That was a good. That was a well. No, I mean we won that one. We
yeah.
but everything that happened about I was like whoa, and then when yeah, stormed out of there so fast. I was like, man, she
Oh
is
man.
just
No,
like
I don't know if I ever showed you. I got if I didn't I think I did, but if I didn't, I'll have to send it to you when we get
you
off of here.
got
But
it. Yeah.
I had the photo because I always take a photo like right when they're about to,
I was yeah,
win or lose, you know what I mean? Because I'm like I always try to post them we win, we lose, we lose. I always try to I own it no matter which way it goes.
right,
But
right.
she just turned around, just looked
Look,
at you and me
yeah,
like,
that like, oh shoot.
I was like, ooh, and it just happened to be a moment where the whole room was red too. It just
Right.
looked like,
Right.
and she had like a red aura. Yeah,
it thought you put a filter on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was crazy. So having all those amateur fights though, how do you feel like that helped you get ready to make that jump to pro?
Um well, for me, it was a little different just because at the time when we decided to like make the decision to go
Mm-hmm.
pro, I was right out of high school, just turned 18. It's early 2014. Um, Probably what January. It's like around January 2014. I'm sparring another pro fighter to help him get ready for probably his fifth or sixth fight. And my dad said, like, look, man, you look like the thing is you actually have more of a pro style anyway. You always have, and that was the
Mm-hmm.
kind of the problem why I took a lot of my laws. I took too long to get going, and he's like, man, I don't have time. We were getting ready for the Golden Gloves that year. He said, I don't have time to teach you how to fight like an amateur and then reteach you to fight like a pro. He said, man, Ross from Keystone Boxing, he's throwing shows. See if you and we called him, man. Yeah, I'm definitely willing to work with Mike. We'll get him some fights, blah blah. He said, man, yeah, let's do it. I said, all right, do you think I'm ready? Let's go. And then and April 18th, 2014, I made my pro debut. It helped. Don't get me wrong, it helped. I was, all the fighting I did. I always say pros and amateurs are different, but it just gets you ready. It's easier. Like you know sort of what to expect. Like okay, so it's a different ball. It's a different ball game slightly, but the concept's the same. Hit,
Mm-hmm.
not get hit, score, and then it helps. And all those reps in the amateurs, they don't it doesn't always for everybody, but it helps transition you into a pro where they take some of the punches and bunches off, and then now you got to start trying to hurt people. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and not just like hurt them, stumble them everywhere. I mean, like the end of your combination needs to be pop, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Things like that. So it all it all works together. Ultimately, it all works together. For me, since I had more, I always said I had more of a pro style, like Boogie, Patrice Harris, as he headbanger, assistant coach of headbangers, seen him in Creed and all that. He was just like, man, he always tell my father, man, Mike gonna be all right when he turn pro. He said, man, his punches, he punch proper. His punches are proper. You know what I'm saying? He turn everything over the way he's supposed to. He gonna be good as a pro. And I proved him right, proved my dad right. I shocked a lot of people, and now I'm probably one of the elder statesmen, kind of the elder statesmen in the air around the area.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I made a name for myself as a pro more than an amateur.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, even with whatever amount of limited knowledge of boxing that I have in that, especially in that realm, like spend some time with you and your brother and your dad, like in that era, toward the end. I was definitely at your last amateur fight. I was definitely at your pro debut too.
Yeah,
So yeah, I got to see that. And I think it made sense to everybody, like at that pro level, like just how slick you were and your ability to keep the distance and everything,
yeah.
and I think even just having more time to be the calculated fighter that you are, it was exciting to see that jump for sure. And like you said, it worked out fine,
Still going.
Definitely.
11 years later. 11 years later,
Yeah.
we doing our thing.
I don't think people understand too, like outside of like inside of this area, well, shit, even sometimes inside of this area, I don't think people realize like how tough of an area this is to rise up out of too. Like there are not that many. I think there's more world class boxing gyms around here than there are like bad ones, and that are
Yeah,
on the scene actually competing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, your no
Yeah,
excuses, your headbangers, your dream teams, Nesto and Swift and like all the, you know what I mean, old school, like bringing up Dusty and I mean, there's some legendary gyms and then you got Sugar Ray's where it's just people kind of passing through or doing their own thing and bringing people up out of there. It's a crazy area.
that's actually where we train at now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Ray Leonard's gym now. And like I said, a lot of people pass through. A lot of people pass through, but it's I'm gonna go to any. I can go to any gym. As I'm a hard worker, so that goes anywhere with me. But it's
Hmm.
benefiting. I think it's benefiting our amateurs more. They're getting a bunch of different looks, and bunch of different looks, bunch of different styles, bunch of different coaches come through. It's a rec center, so you come in. And you say, man, yeah, we here to spar. Like, okay, yeah, if we can find somebody your size, boom, go ahead. It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but right, but I tell people, I would tell honestly any body that's about to turn pro, if you actually want to kind of go somewhere and as a pro around this area, you need to. It's only a few people you really need to seek out. My father, Troy Fox,
Hmm.
Ernesto Rodriguez, Andrew Council, or
Hmm.
Lamont Rose Senior. Like those are like I think the four best coaches to that'll get you into the pros. I mean, everybody's gonna have a different road. And they all work together too. So it's a. I mean, they have everybody. They all got their different people they can call and things like that. But if you want to be a good pro, you need to seek out one of those four people. Because they don't. I mean, they producing. Andrew has Dave Whitmire, Trayvon Marshall. Um, um, Nesto has Tierra Brown now,
Yeah.
who's a
Yeah.
world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tierra's a world champion. He has Frankie Scarborough, Irvin Fuller, two fighters that are both undefeated on their way up.
Hmm.
Frank Francois Scarborough, he signed with Pro Box. He fought his first Pro Box fight. Well, he fought his second Pro Box first on the deal back in April 12th. Excuse me, and then Big Lamont. He's bringing along Ben Johnson, Jordan Roach,
Hmm.
world champion Lamont Roach Jr., Rihanna Rios. So I mean, those are the people you need to seek out. My father, myself, obviously, and then those are the people you need to seek out if you really want to make a good go at being a professional.
Yeah, facts. No, I mean we've been lucky. Yeah, I'm been fortunate over the years to be in proximity to all this great boxing and steal little bits and pieces and take it over into the Muay Thai world and even in the MMA world a little bit too. So no, I'm appreciative. Tell me a little bit about having an older brother that boxes too. That's got to be a cool dynamic. I'm sure sometimes could be a little annoying too, right? I don't know how
Yeah,
yeah
yeah. But
here and
the
there, but
cool, yeah, the cool aspects of it is I mean, the biggest thing about like with Tez is just that because he's 3 years older than me, almost 4. He's like about 3.5 years older than me.
mhm,
Biggest thing about it is his career, which was a blessing to me, but a tad bit unfortunate for him, is that he was the first go. He was
mhm,
like my father's first go as a pro coach. My brother his career, so has to be so everything that I learned, not everything, but a lot of what I learned came from his the good he did, the mistakes he made, and everything. The things that my father he was green, he didn't know at the time. So I was just fortunate. It was fortunate for me just to be able to be along for the ride and see how all these things unfolded and things like that. And we're always still learning, always still learning. The only difference between a student and a master is the master never stopped learning.
mhm,
Um, so that and that dynamic is cool. And also, I always had a trainer. I always have a training partner. I always have a training partner, and I get to and we're not in it alone. This is a lonely sport, but we both going through it. Especially once I turned pro, I still I still just watched and learned and everything. I didn't. I was trying to make a name for myself, but like turning pro, I studied I watched everybody. I watched how they move. I watched what they did when they did any interviews when they my brothers. Like I used to read my brother's contracts. He was okay with it. Don't get me wrong, he was okay with it.
yeah,
Like one time, look, I'm gonna tell you one story. It's funny. My father got an offer about for Tez to fight. He's like, "Yeah, you want to fight this dude?" Tez like, "Yeah, of course." And then the promoter, it was like two promoters that were like teaming up, but one of the promoters was like, told us like, "Yeah, you can fight him, but it's based upon you signing with the promotion." My dad's like, "Well, send a contract. I mean, if you are giving him an opportunity to fight on Showtime,
mm,
Showbox at the time, and so we'll look it over." So my dad's reading it. I'm finishing up. He said, "Man, like." He said, "Man, I need you to read this contract. I need you to look at it. I mean, just tell me what you think about it." He said, "What's up?" He said, "I said I'm not liking exactly what I said, but I'm tired." He was still working nights. "I'm gonna go take a nap. If you don't mind." I said, "Oh yeah, I look at it." So I'm reading it. I'm reading it. This is me at what 17, 16, 17. Reading. I'm like, he wakes up. I'm like, "Yeah, what you think?" I'm like, "Dad, I wouldn't sign this." He said, I
yeah,
wouldn't like me at 16, like I wouldn't sign this. He said, "All right,
right,
cool. So I'm not crazy." It just has some crazy stipulations like
yeah, yeah,
your minimums. Well, it didn't even have minimums. Like a contract should read, well, you for a 6 rounder, you get a minimum of $2,000, 2,000 or 2,500 or something like that. But then it had some stipulation. Should you lose that, your minimum it drops to something like that. He's like, "Man, I'm not signing that." He's like, "I'm not even." He told Ted, like, "Man, this Jones, so we're not." And Ted's trusting him. So he looked at it too. He's like, "Yeah, nah, this ain't crazy." And then they called back a few days later. My dad was so mad at the joint. He said, "Man, he said, man, I should wipe my hands with this joint and send it back in the mail." He was like really, really offended by it. So the guy calls a few days later. "Yeah, man, y'all never got back to me about it with the contract." He said, "Yeah, oh, I didn't think you were serious with that." You know what I
yeah,
mean? Then
yeah,
he comes to find out. Then we get both promoters on the phone. They're talking. He said, "Man," the other promoter's like, "Is the fight to go? What we doing?" He said, "Man, well, I thought it wasn't because the man here said um, it's only a go if we sign with him." He said, and then he's like, "No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that." No, no, bro. They end up falling out. I think they ended up falling out soon after that. Like, you trying to sign people behind my back and do this, and you're ruining
damn,
the business we're doing together. Now we don't even got this fight. We still gotta find a fight for our guy and all this stuff.
right,
I mean, it's just that like that kind of stuff. I was able to have a backseat on or basically be a fly on the wall and
mm,
just and watch how people work. That's why, like even now, like the guy Edwin De Los Santos, you might have heard of him. He's about to fight
mm,
Keyshawn Davis. Him and him and his promoter got well. They were. I'll say he was offered some. The offer they didn't get the same offer. I'll say
Yeah.
that his promoter got an offer, and his promoter gave him another offer. Then the other promoters like telling Keyshawn Davis's promoters like telling Devin Son, we didn't offer that. We offered you double that. So you gotta talk
Oh
to
wow.
such and such.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Yeah, that's the tough part, and there
Yeah,
ain't no
order. That's right.
practice. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, you kind of gotta learn sometimes, unfortunately, through some mistakes, and or hope that you just make some good decisions. And it's
Yeah.
tricky. It's tricky because you get those, show box, and I mean now it's like Showbox and HBO and all these big giants that were around all my life aren't even here anymore. Yeah, just yeah, it's crazy. This is
That was
such
the
a crazy
dream.
thing.
That was
Yeah,
always everybody was like, man, HBO,
twenty
show
four
fighting
seven.
on one of those. Like,
Yeah,
man, that's when we thought there was a time where we thought that's when we made it. Then HBO X is out. Then Showtime exits a few years later. And then it's like now it's man, yeah, y'all, we made it back on the zone. Or we made it on
yeah,
ESPN Plus. And
yeah.
we made it on another streaming site. You can see me on your cell phone. And we made
Right. Yeah.
it's just crazy how things just change and shift. Like,
Yeah.
but like and even like I said for Tez, like I say, he was the first go of it. He was the first go of it. Like some other, like we didn't have him and my dad took it on together. They didn't have a we didn't have like an OG to be like, nah, don't move like this, nah. We're gonna take this, don't do this. None of that. None of that. They had to
Right.
figure it out themselves. And by the time I turned pro, I was fortunate to to uh to have their experience to lean on. And I'm grateful to both of them for that. And I mean, I'm grateful to still be doing it myself.
Yeah, no, that's a that and that kind of leads into that. I was going to ask you, just to kind of walk us through training with your father, and that's some great insight already. Just the dynamic with Tez and getting to learn from a lot of that. Ooh, we lost the light. Come on. I don't know why that shit does it. Uh, I'm too mystic over here. Uh, that dynamic between the three of y'all, and getting to learn from things like that, but and then also did some of that like translate into the fighting as well too. You guys have a similar style and a slightly different style though also though too, which I commend your father for, because that's got to be tricky as well.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of what a lot of the differences in me and my brother aren't even necessarily physical. Um, it's just it's more. My father always says, and however you are in the ring, I mean, however you are outside the ring, you're going to be in the ring.
Mm,
My brother, like we can probably do all the same things. It just we'll execute them differently at different times, things like that, and that's due to our personalities. My brother's probably more of an extrovert. Just in life, he's headstrong. He's a I love him, but he's a look before he leaps type of guy sometimes.
mhm,
But he's aggressive. He wants to be in the mix, whereas
mhm,
I'm kind of laid back, observant. You know what I mean? And like I said, we can all do the same thing. We both have a nice jab. We both can counter when we want to counter. We both can traverse the ring and everything. It's just all of how we all the differences in how we do it is off of our personalities, and
mm,
I think that's important thing for coaches to know, because some coaches will try to train everybody the same way, even in other sports. Like, okay, so this football coach has a running back or a run heavy offense, but you didn't draft a good running back this year. You didn't draft a
right.
are you going to do? Are you going to be able to pass the ball? Do you got
Yeah.
good receivers? Things like that. So, um, like it's similar to like if you ever seen Training Day. Of course, you've seen Training Day, but like
Yeah.
you remember they're in the ride in the car. He had Denzel Washington just giving him the all right. So yeah, it's your first day. You got one day to impress me. I got four. He said, I got four different officers under my rank. He said, man, that's four different problems. That's four. That's some bullshit. That's four different personalities. You can be the fifth if you play it right. And, things like that. But that's what a leader is knowing is knowing how to motivate your people, knowing what they're going through and things like that. I think
Hmm.
and I think that helped. I think that helps. My father's always been like very creative, so and he has a and he looks at the sport a little differently from everybody else. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't know my dad never competed as a boxer. He said he always wanted to box, but my granddad was like he asked my granddad. My granddad was like ask your mother, and then my grandma was like absolutely not. And then he
Shut it
said
down.
box, and but he's always been into the sport. Always loved the sport. And like I said, him not being in the sport, like him not competing, gives him a different outlook on the sport, which can be sometimes be good and bad. But as an adult now, when I have a conversation with him as two men and as a fighter comes, like I'm telling you, it can't. It's like he's like why I can't blah blah blah. I'm like, Dad, fighters ain't thinking like that sometimes. I mean, you gotta do this. Sometimes it's this, and then but then there's on the other flip side of that coin is he said my father is like, what if you try this? And it's like I never thought of that. I'm gonna get that a try. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Work on it in the gym, execute it in the ring, and then you amass a career of 24 wins, 4 losses, and we are May 17th.
Hey, let's go, baby.
Yeah,
Uh, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you a little bit about because I the like the kickoff to the like the pro boxing career.
yeah.
Like the approach to it is partially I'm giving you my point of view, so I can't speak on it. But the approach from the outside point of view, a lot of times is to kind of like there's a little bit of business, like okay, we gonna like you got your 100+ amateur fights. We don't need to know if this dude can fight. We figured that out. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So now we're gonna put together the right fights, kind of start building the name up a little bit, trying to get them to a certain number, get some type of ranking, and then start looking at the next step, like the where we start getting into these big fights. But those early fights where I don't want to say you're supposed to win, but like it's almost
You are
expected in a
supposed to win.
way.
Yeah,
Right, right. It's expected. So it's like as much as that is, a fight is a fight. Is there more pressure in those situations sometimes? Or are you going in like, well, I'm supposed to win this fight, so I know I'm gonna, but I would imagine there's still got to be some pressure there because you're supposed to win, you know?
no, it's definitely so. It's definitely pressure, but that's based off of what your team tells you. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
sign with a manager who's kind of been in it a little bit, he said he's going to tell you like, yeah, we're going to get you guys. It's going to help you get your feet wet. They're not supposed to be any try. At least the first 5 or 10, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're not supposed to be no trouble, just to get you used to being in the ring without a headgear and things like that. I feel like some of these people aren't told that. They're
Yeah.
told that you got to fight. Like I once saw a guy, he like stopped the guy. The guy's like 0-5, bro. With like
Yeah.
and stopped like 4 times, and you stop him the fifth time, and then you like, man, yeah, get my chains, get this, get that. I'm like, bro, for this dude,
Right.
you supposed to beat this dude, like, and that's for me. That's what my father told me in the beginning. Is he said, look, Ethan Jones, you supposed to win. He said, but the only chance they got, they're not gonna come here just to lose, but they're gonna try to win. The only chance they got, and this is like when I was doing 4 rounders, the only chance they got is to knock you out. Don't give them that chance.
Mhm.
Like you're a better boxer than these first few guys. Once we move to 6 rounders, my dad will say he kind of fast tracked me a bit, but he said once we move to 6 rounds, he said, man, he told Ross at the time, he's like, man, I don't want no more upside down records. They need to at
Mm.
least be 4-4, 5-5 at the very least. So my first 6 rounder, I was 4-0. Oh yeah, 4-0 against a guy 3-1. Puerto Rican guy 3-1. And that was in DC.
Mhm.
And that was honestly the first time I took like a solid punch in fighting. Up until then, I was moving, grooving, and everything. He set me up, threw a left hand over top. We both southpaw. Shot the jab at him. He slipped it. Bow, called me over top. Boom. I was okay. I heard the whole crowd go, "Ooh!"
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Yeah." Everybody, and then here, no, get together. You all right, Mike? You all right, Mike? I'm like, I said, I know. Like in my mind, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, all the way okay. I'm fighting, and then but that was, and then those fights I got more respect because like a lot of people thought, man, Mike's boxing, he's moving, he's grooving. What's gonna happen when he get touched? They thought I was just gonna crumble
Right,
and he's gonna
right, right.
my tall, lanky carcass on the canvas. Like, dog, and that's where those 100 fights came into play.
Hmm.
Those 100 fights come that I had, and they weren't, I didn't have a stellar amateur career, but I fought the who's who around the area. I fought Lamont Roach 5 times. We split 3-2. I fought Tank 3 times. We fought. He won all 3 of them. Personally, I thought I won the last one, but we were in Baltimore. It's all good. It's water under the
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah, yeah.
Only person I didn't fight around here was Patrick Harris. This Bug's son. The only person I
Hmm.
never fought around here. But I was never. And mind you, we're fighting. I fought these guys a bunch of different times too. And look at where they are now.
Hmm.
And you can tell, like, we're made for this. But you just don't find that out. Or my thing is, you shouldn't find that out in the early fights. Like I see a lot
Yeah.
of guys, they're fighting their debuts and they're 2-0 and they're 3-0. Like, why is this guy giving you a black eye, bro? This dude,
Yeah.
should, this dude can't beat nobody. He should not. If you think you are what you are, you shouldn't be walking in the ring with an ice pack under your eye and things like that. These fights are supposed to, when there is pressure, but you're supposed to. When you turn pro, this isn't supposed to be. You're not supposed to be in brawls. And
Hmm.
that was the thing for me. Is I showed that, like, man, I'm gonna go far because I know my way around. I know my way on both sides of a punch, offense and defense.
Hmm.
I know how to hurt. I know how to hit. I know how to not get hit. So that's the biggest thing. There's pressure, but there shouldn't be too much. You got your folks out there. You got your
Right.
audience. But other than that, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
another day at work.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. No, that makes sense, and that's just something I always wanted to get the perspective on because I assume that there's got to be a little pressure, but like you're kind of going into it and knowing what you're supposed to do, and then it's on you to just get it done. So at what point do you start being like, okay, like here, this is where we're at now. Let's start looking at some other guys that are like in that same that same like come up where that's when you guys
Like
start
other prospects.
clashing with the yeah.
I mean, it just depends. It just depends on how you're moved.
Yeah.
Like my like we tried, like my dad tried to get fights because it was different because I turned pro, no backing, no anything.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, Keystone Boxing was there throwing cards, and we just want to throw cards. We want to get. They had their mission statement basically was to get to have a avenue for local fighters to climb, to
Yeah.
get started. Like Ross, he didn't sign people. He just, what he did was he would have you fight, and basically not sell you off, but like he'd had you fight, have you build your career. He had connections from time to time. Like Mike Reed, he got him.
Mm-hmm.
He was pivotal in getting him signed with Top Rank and things like that. So we were fortunate to have Ross. And when he decided he didn't want to throw fights anymore, before I told him, like, a lot of y'all are not gonna. A lot of these dudes ain't never gonna fight again because they don't want to fight tough and things like that. Me,
Yeah.
I was they used to have this website called makeafight.com. You put your name over there, they put fights up there that they need. And one fight was another guy that was 3-0. I was 3-0 at the time. There was another guy that was 3-0 from Ohio. I was gonna go in his hometown. They was paying $2,500. Up until then, I hadn't fought for more than $500 yet. So
Right.
I'm 18. I ain't
Yeah.
never $2,500 in real life. Boom, I'm there. I signed that fight. That was one of the first of many fights that didn't go through. So it just depends on, to answer your question. It just depends on uh, what kind of pace you want to move at. The
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
about it is you got guys that might score a lot of knockouts early, but like one prime example is a young man named Dula Mason. He's from Ohio. He signed a Top Rank. He's knocking guys out at the level, and he's not knocking out. He's knocking out good journeyman, strong guys that can sneak a win on somebody. But like as his level goes up, it's moving faster because we got to find somebody to challenge Abdullah so we can get him the
Mm.
rounds, so we can get him the experience before he's, that 135 division, that 135 and 140, that division, those divisions are popping. So
Mm.
you got to be up to snuff by the time you get up there. So like I said, it just depends on what kind of pace you want to move at. He has top rank, thankfully. They purse strings a little deeper. They can find guys.
Yeah.
Other people who aren't signed and are coming straight from grassroots, you can either step out there early if you know you got a dog, or you just we're gonna move into it. We're gonna move into it until we get offered, and you gotta be willing to be on that B side. Everybody talk about, oh, we not fighting the B side. We not fighting the B side. Do they pull bullshit? Yes, but
Yeah.
like they say they need an opponent. Everybody like, man, these dudes trying to make me into an opponent. I heard a dude say that one time, like, bro, you don't have to lose that fight. You don't
Yeah.
have to lose. You just can't just go out there, win, upset him. You know what I'm saying? And then you win those talks. Like everybody treat you like, oh, the dreaded B side, man, A side, B side, port side, C side, Lakers in five.
Facts. Right. Yeah. And
But yeah, we like if you can fight, you coming to do work, whatever corner you fighting out of, it don't matter. Go win.
no, I think that's definitely an interesting part of it too, is just the fact that you see these guys taking off, and then you're like, all right, well, like we're as like fans of the sport, we'll be sitting now kind of waiting to see, all right, when's that first fight we're gonna really kind of see him get in those deep waters. And
Yeah,
it definitely makes sense what you're saying about like, if you're going out there and you're just Xing everybody out and you're not giving yourself a chance to see what you look like in like round 8, and then you
right.
do get somebody that's tough, that's gonna come alive in those later rounds, and that's your first time there, like how you don't want to find out, because sometimes unfairly it feels like that one loss, just the motherfuckers just be writing y'all off like that. Oh, he lost one time, that's it, you can't ever watch him box again or some
Crazy.
shit.
That's crazy. It's, I heard this one dude one time when we talking about how fighters want to be moved and things like that. I remember hearing this story. I forgot who it was, but they came into Keystone, and he
Mm.
said, "Yeah, I got this guy I got a promoter says he wants to sign me. I need y'all to line me up seven ducks real quick. He said I just need to get more fights, something like that, right?" And they get in the fights. He loses. No. Actually, I think he still won. But it was a guy that was like had a even record. He might have been like 3-3 or something like that. And then they're like, man, you trying to get me beat? They're like, oh, you trying to get signed? They're gonna want you fighting guys that people that are way better than this guy. You think I'm trying to get you beat now against a 3-3 guy? Come on, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's all based on. I mean, it's based on the guy. It's based on the guys. Like, and it's not always fighters that turn people down. You got to remember, these managers and promoters, they invest money into these people, so they're looking at their investment. Sometimes if a fight gets turned down, it's because they coach or manager something didn't even tell the fighter about it. It's like you get on Twitter, like, yeah, man, you ducked me. It's like, dog, who are you? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I've never seen you before. I've never seen your
Right.
name before. Say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then, I mean, but just make sure you're on the same page with your coaches. Because, like, well, yeah, we did. Like, man, for what? You're like, man, we
Yeah.
don't that fight. As a fighter, you always supposed to say yes, to be honest. But
Right.
get
Right.
a team you trust, and they say, nah, we don't even gotta do this one. This one ain't going. This one doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
And you gotta decide. You can't be thinking. You can't be thinking. You gotta use your brain, not your heart. Sometimes like, I don't duck nobody. It's like, yeah. But we got a plan.
Yeah.
Stick with the plan for me, son. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 No, 100%. And I definitely understand it more in boxing, because there's a bigger bag opportunity, 100% too. So like for us, like the only way really to get there is you gotta like kill your way through everybody, you know what I mean? And there's also not the pool either, you know what I mean? Like there's
Right.
not, there's so many more people out there actually boxing and stuff like that, and the amateurs and the pros and everything too. So yeah, it's a smarter business savvy world for sure. Yeah, 100%. And there's a lot more money to be made. What's the like like I said, I know like HBO was like that was like everybody's dream on anything that wanted to do anything was that. Like what do you what's the one now you think? Like for you personally, you don't even got to be like if it don't fuck you up, obviously, you know.
Yeah. The thing is honestly, so there's like what maybe like three major promoters you need to try to get with
Mm,
that have streaming deals and things like that. If not, you need to. And this is advice to any fighters that's listening, as any young pro boxers that's listening. You get to either get those three major, or you get with a promoter that's smaller but has a good relationship with one of those big guys. The big three right now is either PBC,
mm-hmm.
Top Rank, Gold Boy, and or Matchroom. So four. You need to get with one of those four. These are the ones that have streaming deals and things like that. You want to be on TV and things like that. If not, make sure you sign with a promoter that has a good working relationship with one of those promoters, or just isn't in general. Uh, they know how to talk and they know how to sell, and they're not an asshole. You know what I mean? Don't
Yeah.
like if you sign with a guy that has a problem with every promoter, with every other promoter, you might be stifled. You might stifle your opportunities just. But it's like it's not because you. It's not because of you. It might be because of who you align with. I mean, it can't always be. You can't always control that all the time. You might find out a little late. But I remember talking to a guy, talking to a fighter. It was he had a manager. They said, "Man, kid, we like you, but so long as you deal with this manager,
Mm,
we don't want to. If you get clear of him, you ever get clear of him, call us. But we
yeah.
don't really want to deal with him. So you
Yeah.
can't. So when promoters approach you and things like that, you can look them up the way they might look you up, or the way they might have heard about you. If look up their promoters, see what fighters they got. Hell, you never know. They might know a fighter that you might know. Like, what's it like with him? I've been DM before. Like, man, I was thinking about signing with such and such. Said, man, why do you know? I told him, man, look, if you ready to fight and stay active, he the man for you.
Right.
He gonna put you in developmental bouts that are still challenging. Just make sure you doing the work. People ask around. People talk. The promoters talk to one another. Fighters talk to one another. Managers talk to one another. Everybody talks. So I mean, don't be a jerk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we've been fortunate, and I feel like I have to have some relationships with guys like Ross, and me just I like me and Ross got along immediately for whatever reason, and just got to talking and stuff back when he was around. I miss those Keystone days going to the Rosecroft and just it was like this local show with all these you could feel like all these future legends were on these cards and stuff like that. You, your brother, Jared, like Mike Reed, like all these guys. You're like, man, Lamont. Like you can see these guys are going somewhere. You know what I mean? It was a special. And then now Tony's been uh, Tony's one of my biggest mentors since like 2010 when we started doing some amateur boxing for him. He put me on so much game. I feel like I've been fortunate enough, and I know you have too. Talk to me a little bit about that. Some of these local, people that have done some big things as well too.
Well, gotta give credit to Tony Jetta. He started off like he didn't always have Maryland Live.
Right.
He doing the Jones at ABC in Virginia, right in the
Mm-hmm.
little gymnasium, and then he secured for he secured Maryland Live. I fought on the first card at Maryland Live. I wasn't signed to him at the time, but I fought Chop Chop on that card. That
Mm-hmm.
was the first card. Maryland Live wasn't even finished building the hall. Like the hall, it's the hall at Live now.
Yeah.
He wasn't like that wasn't even done yet. That's how early he got onto it. And I mean, he had it was him. That was him exclusively for like 7 years. And he put on a lot of great cards. He kept people busy. He signed some people. You know, now now Pro Box just came through. So, but yeah, so I'm grateful to Tony Jetta for just getting my career back in motion. Sitting around for 2 years. One day he sees my dad at the Golden. Actually, last year he sees my dad at the Golden Gloves. He says, man, I can get Mike fights. He said, I can get Mike back fighting. We sit down, we talk. He said, I can get you fights. I said, all right, you can give me fights. You got I'm gonna sign with you. Sign the contract. Like, all right, let's see, three fights per year. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah.
And he'll have come May 17th. He'll have fulfilled that obligation. So, so very great. So very grateful to Jetter Promotions. He wants me to say Jetter because it's him and his wife. Because he said, man, couldn't do it without her, man. So shout out to Kristen and Tony, and then shout out to Lamont Roche, Senior. He made I think he developed a promotion just. And he started at Rosecroft, like where a lot of people started. Started at Rosecroft, getting people active, getting people busy, and then and now he has Andrews fighters on the card. He's had Greg Outlaw on the card. He's doing like him and Lamar Rose Jr. They won the title. They have a collaborative effort with Pro Box, and they're bringing cards to the area. Big opportunities with their streaming on YouTube, and they got their app. They're getting their app in order and everything like that. It's just great. It's just great to see, and it's all kind of starts with winning a world title. Every time somebody won a world championship, it put eyes on our area. For a while it was Jared Hurd. Now it's Lamar Roach. Lamar Roach Jr. has a world title. Lamar Roach Sr. is using those eyes on Lamont and himself to create opportunities for young men like Francois Scarborough, like I said, who signed with Pro Box after his first fight. After he fought on a Pro Box card. Fought on the card, the first card with the Pro Box on, and then Pro Box said, "We want this kid back. Let's sign him." You know what I mean? It create having a world champion, having a star in the area. It brings more attention, more eyes on us, and credit to Lamar Roach Sr. for capitalizing on it. Credit to Tony Jetta. Tony Jetta put those cards on, and then sometimes he keeps guys active and busy, and then you get a call to fight. Sometimes you get a call to fight on Top Rank, or you get a call to fight on UFC Fight Pass, like I'm about to be. Just because he's doing it because he does the work. He does the work to keep you busy, keep you active. He's like, man, my guy Tony, I tell you, my guy's ready. And then he called me. Or he texted me, said, "You want to fight him?" I said, "Yeah, let's get it."
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, so let's tell me about May 17th, man. You got a big one coming up.
Yeah, May 17th we fighting Serhii Bohachuk. He's in super welterweight. He's a super welterweight. Like he's a who's who up there. Like he's like a I think he's number one mandatory WBC, like a number 6 or 7 WBO ranking. He's a big player in the division. When I announced the fight, everybody was like, "Oh man, I'm excited for you, blah blah." Then we got the trolls. Oh man, RIP, bro, you might die to. Wait.
Yeah, all right.
So long as you on his nuts, he's going to be too preoccupied with that to knock me out. We're playing. But yeah, we don't. I mean, like I said, big opportunity that puts me back where I want to be. I was in the gym already when I got the call, so I was sparring different fighters. They were getting ready for the March fights in March and April. I'm sparring all of those guys. So when I got the call, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place to start a camp.
Right.
I ain't even in camp yet. This is just me sparring because everybody knows when they need good work, they can call Michael Fox. Michael Fox is reliable. And so I got a call. The first thing I'm asking how much, what weight, the thing, the important stuff. Get the contract. I read over all my contracts. Young fighters, read your contracts. All of them every time. Yes. All of them every time. And then and then it read right. So I was like, yeah, let's get it. I signed it, sent it right back. Then, because there's more. Then then I get a text. Well, I get a call from Tony. They said, man, yeah, they said, man, Bohachuk ain't been in the gym and he wants to move the weight up. So we're actually not even fighting at the 154 limit. We're fighting at 157.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, we're fighting at 157. So I told them, man, I'll still do it, but y'all got to pay me more money. They
Yeah.
agreed to my terms, and so we still got May 17th brewing.
Okay.
Yeah,
And a little bit extra of that.
a little bit for sure, for
Hey, that
sure.
ain't nothing wrong with that then. All
Yeah,
right.
you want that you want extra weight? I
Want
want
that weight,
extra
you got to
dough.
pay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already coming up from welterweight.
Right.
Now y'all want me to come up some more?
Yeah.
How much is it worth to you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's your
Damn,
bargaining
that's
power.
dope. Good for
Yeah,
you, brother. That's man, that's awesome. And tell everybody like where they can watch it at, where it's gonna be, all that good stuff too. All the
yeah,
particulars.
yeah. So it's gonna be at L.A. Commerce Casino.
Mm-hmm.
Come through if y'all can. Uh, and then it's gonna be streamed on UFC Fight Pass. His promoter, 360 promoter Tom Lawler, he has a streaming deal with them. So they've thrown. I guess they've been throwing his fights for a few years now. So it'll be on UFC Fight Pass, man. So if you at home, tune in, man. Tune in. If you have UFC Fight Pass, for sure, tune in.
Yeah, 100%. We'll definitely have a little viewing party here for sure. You know, we're gonna be
Yeah,
turning up for you and making sure we make some noise from
appreciate
all
that.
the
It's
way
gonna
over
be a
here in Maryland.
viewing
Yeah.
party slash victory party for my
Oh
man
yeah,
Gabe
absolutely.
Mack. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
This week, what y'all fight on a Thursday, right?
Yeah, we got and then I think no, we got a little trifecta in May going on right now because we got Gary this Thursday, May 1st, down in Miami, and then I think Sadiq just announced
Yeah,
he's on May
same day as me.
17th also.
Yeah, same day as me.
Uh yeah, so yeah, we got all the broskies fighting in May,
Yeah, yeah,
getting ready to do big things, man. That's
yeah.
exciting.
Oh, and since we're on the topic of like Gary and Sadiq, for people that don't know, that's how we all kind of linked up through
Mhm.
Lloyd Irvin, and I met you.
Yeah.
We all met. And then you opened your own gym. Shout out to Level Up, man. Yeah, that's how Jason and I know each other.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, shout out Master Lloyd and the team Lloyd Irvin. Yeah, so I originally met her dad. I was an old white guy that came through for the boxing one morning, and he's like, who's this guy? And you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And then
I
I
think
got
because I think you moved with Tez, right?
yeah, well later I forget who was uh so for those of you, I'll give you guys a quick, and I'm gonna cut Mike loose. I know he got stuff to do, but so before you spar for Coach Fox, he makes sure you're in shape. You do a thing called ring skips and ring hops, and you gotta make sure you got some in shape legs and good lungs and stuff like that. So I was a little bit shocked, but luckily I was still training a little bit more frequently back then.
Yeah,
But then I had to jump in the ring and spar with a young man named DJ Jackson, who literally never gets tired.
yeah.
But I still had my boxing skills a little bit then too. So I did okay, and Coach Fox actually he's like, man, we got to take him to the Golden Gloves, man. They won't see him coming, you
Yeah.
know.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah,
And then he there was a couple times he brought Tez over to 88
yeah,
to get some work in. Me and Ong, it was me, Ong, and Peter rotating, and then it took the three of us to give Tez a little bit of work, not a whole lot, but yeah, no, that was good stuff, man. I always enjoyed those times. Like I said, I've been fortunate to be in proximity with a lot of really great boxing coaches and pick up some valuable tools, yourself included, and Tez and your pops, and even Coach Roach back in the day. That's where I got my six from. He was 1163. That was his combination, man.
And
Jab jab, big uppercut to the body, hook to the head, man. I've been doing it for like
them just
15 years, man.
it didn't. Every time I've been at any sparring session, any fight, anytime his guys were fighting, if I was watching it or they were fighting against me, R.I.P. the Boogaloo, man. He's like, yeah, you want me? 1163. Pop, pop,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Man. Every
Yes,
time, like,
sir.
that's his combination. He
That's
loves
his
that.
combination, man.
They don't even need to be 1163 no more, man. Just throw the Boogaloo, man.
Yeah,
Hit him with
yeah,
the
there
Boogaloo.
you go. There you
R.I.P.
go.
R.I.P. to Coach Bernard Roach, man. I know he's so proud of
Oof.
what Lamont's doing, of
Yes,
Lamont
sir.
Roach Jr. and Senior, just because like it's just amazing. They losing somebody like that, that could have broken, like devastated the whole no excuse camp and everything. It did, but they didn't fall apart. You know what I'm saying? They didn't
Yeah.
fall apart. They kept this thing going. Now Jordan, like I said, Jordan Roach and Benjamin Johnson on their way. We've had other fighters that come. They've had other fighters that come through too. Alex Rincon, George Rincon. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And they just made it. They just made a thing, man. I know Lamont since I was 5 years old. So that's family. And Big
Yeah.
Lamont, that's like every time I see him, I'm like, what's up, Lamont? You know what I'm saying? That's he known me since I was a kid, back when I was little. So that was short. When I was short, so that was a long
Yeah. A super long time ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
No, they always got some youngins. Shout out Little B, Tar
Yeah,
Son. Yeah,
yeah,
Tar Son been doing it for a while. Coming out no excuse. So
yeah.
yeah, no, they're always churning out some killers. I can't imagine as somebody who's lost unfortunately a lot of people close to me, I can't imagine what that was like, and we all felt it in the community
Yeah,
surrounding,
it was a,
just
yeah.
from the little bit of time that we got to spend with them, and you obviously spent much more time. So
No, it was a
um
tough time for the
yeah,
area. And anybody that kind of just knew him or was around him would tell you like it was a rough, it was rough, like the whole area, like when we went to his funeral, the whole area was out there. But then the boxers and everything, boxers and coaches and everything. But then it was like then you found out, I didn't know much about him outside of boxing, you know, like it was deep in there. Could have been
yeah.
very much like 1,000 people at that funeral. I'm like, man, it's a life well lived. R.I.P. to Coach Boogaloo.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for everything that you did, and obviously, it's the effects are still rippling through the combat sports community, not even just boxing. We're
Absolutely, absolutely.
talking about him in Muay Thai and MMA and everywhere else. Everybody remembers Coach Roach, man.
Sure.
He was a special individual. Well, listen, man, I think that's a good note to end it on some love and some introspective thoughts on one of the greats. And man, I appreciate your time, and we're super excited for the fight. I'll make sure we put all the information up in the description, and we got some great sound bites out of this one, so I'm gonna get some clips together, man. We'll get this thing popping, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely, we gotta do it again, man. Let's do it again. We gotta do it again after the fight or something too, man. We'll
For
get you back
sure,
on.
for
Yeah,
sure,
do a little
man. Yeah,
breakdown.
even if you ever need like somebody ever drops out, if I can jump in, or if I can jump on and take their spot real quick, because you promised everybody a show or something, I
Yes,
got you on
sir.
that, man. Hey,
Perfect. Yeah, no, I know I'm always gonna get a great episode out of that, so I appreciate that 100%.
hey, and shout out once again. Shout out to I appreciate you having me, and then shout out to Gary Mack, man.
Yes, sir.
Glory kickboxing debut, man. It's been a long time coming. Jason, you ready?
Oh man, I'm so excited.
And, I did all I could, Jason. I did all I
Yes,
could.
sir. No, the work's been put in, man. He's sharp. Yeah, he's sharp as ever. So let's
Good,
go.
man.
We get it. We did all the hard work. Now let's go. Now it's time to go hunt, man.
Yes, I'm super excited. I'm tuned in. And it's on YouTube.
On YouTube, free, 7 o'clock. Yep. Let's get it.
In. I'm going to be yelling at my phone. I can't wait to be yelling at my phone.
Yeah.
In public, they like, "What's up with bro?"
Yeah.
That's what.
Hell yeah. All right, brother, man. Well, peace. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Jay.